one of the biggest barriers I'm coming into, and maybe you have insight into this, maybe you don't, is is money, is figuring out where are my resources for money? Like, my LSAC waiver, for example, like I was a professional dancer. When I was a professional dancer, we were being financially abused. They had us under 1099 contracts for full-time employment, hours, and saving money to try pay taxes became like a huge deal in my life. I was making I think I made $16,000 working full-time for the whole year. So since I have a larger, I know it's just awful, and good thing I'm trying to become a lawyer. So in applying for LSAC waivers, when I left a full-time dancer contract, I was a housekeeper before COVID. Just self-employed, just cleaning people's homes, saving as an independent contractor, saving money again to pay taxes, and saving money again to pay for health insurance. So just really financially hurting. And when I applied for my LSAC waiver, I was denied. I tried to appeal. I was denied again. And I can't tell, maybe you're not the right person, but I can't tell if they're looking at my savings that are being saved. I'm holding on to pay for taxes, and they think I have more money than I have. I'm starting to get stressed about the application process, just in general. I looked up, to apply for one school is $75. I know that you can probably email admissions and ask for an application fee waiver. Are there any other, I have two-part question. One, am I missing something in the LSAC waiver application process that you know of? And two, I can email admissions for an application waiver. Are there any other things I can email admissions about that maybe I don't even know about, that you know about? I don't know.
It's a good question. Well, first, I'm sorry to hear about the fee waiver denial and hassle there. I mean, yeah, people do get denied even when they shouldn't, and the answer is to appeal. So give them more context. I think there's a formal appeal process. I don't know all the details, but appeal and explain that if it is due to savings, that those savings are to pay taxes, that your income level is not very high. And also mention COVID as a factor in losing employment, because there's a bit of a lag. If they're basing it on 2019 taxes and COVID's 2020, then obviously none of that's reflected. And then for schools, email them asking for fee waivers. Not a whole lot else I can think of to ask them about in terms of money saving things.
Okay, that's super helpful. Do you know, I keep hearing in sort of these admissions calls with you, they're like, the door's open, you can reach out to these admissions if you have any questions. And I am sort of just thinking, what do people write to admissions about? I feel so lost and what are they talking about? I can't help but thinking somebody knows something that I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's just it's about whatever questions you have. So any nuanced things that can't be answered by the website, if you're interested more in pursuing a certain area of law or certain programs they offer or certain clinics they offer, and obviously how COVID is impacting certain things that you might have been interested in prior, but now are kind of maybe up in the air. So it's really about whatever questions you have, and you may not even have done enough research to ask those kinds of questions yet. But when it comes down to it, if you were choosing between 2 or 3 different schools, on what basis would you decide which school to go for? I mean, obviously scholarships could be part of that, but there are other things as well to be thinking about.
That makes total sense in terms of doing the research and being down in 2 to 3 schools and sort of having a list of my own needs and my own requirements that I've seen you post about before, scholarship money versus region of area that you want to practice in, getting that narrowed down. That helps me sort of identify what people are talking about and what they're talking to admissions about. So that was really helpful. Thanks. I think, what comes to mind is I've seen on a few school that I think I could reach out to admissions about is I've seen a few schools where they have maybe a fellowship program application where if you have been under extreme distress, like being homeless, which I have been in San Francisco, or maybe extreme financial loss or things like this, where I'm I don't know, I think I should go for it because definitely I fall into these categories that they're saying. Who knows, right? The worst they can say is no. But one of the requirements for it is if you're a high achiever. And I'm wondering, do they mean high achiever school-wise? Because in school, I definitely was one of the most disciplined, hardworking people there, but my major was for dance. So I was always in a dance studio, which did not translate to a GPA being high. Is that a question I can ask them? Are you looking for a high GPA or are you looking for a high achiever career-wise? I am confused about that.
Yeah, call it out, ask. But in terms of
Okay.
asking questions, I mean, think about it as you're selecting them. You're choosing a school. If you were interviewing somebody or interviewing a school, what questions would you ask the school to help you make a decision about whether you are accepting their offer of admission? So flip around the perspective a little bit. I've done some classes on choosing a law school inside the course. And so I'd say if you watch those, you might have a better sense of what would you want to know when you were deciding. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.